What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only Tesla stock and what you should be looking out for the future of this company. I'm also going to break down the data for you guys. I'm going to talk about their latest deliveries report that just came out, what or not the data is showing us, and how this may affect the share price going into tomorrow, as I give you guys my price prediction using the data and technical analysis. Now, before I break anything down, I do have to mention a couple of things. First, as you guys know, I'm not a financial planner, so please don't take this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. And the last thing is, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull using my link down below and deposit any amount of money, whether it's $1 or $100, it's really up to you. You are guaranteed 5 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. You could always sell these free stocks and buy some Tesla shares. You're getting them for free, so please check out the offer. It lasts until the end of April. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So looking at Tesla, we did have a green day on Friday, like I told you guys, but we are showing some signs of bearish price action. I'm going to show you what's happening. So I have the 5-minute candles here. We were running up and up and up. We got rejected at 1,115, and we're starting to curl like a bridge right over here. So we're in this cool off phase as of right now. We started to see some consolidation, which is perfectly healthy. It's very good, but it does not show us the data or the latest, how the stock price is going to move just yet. So what happened was we were trading in this upper range right over here. And what happened was we started descending into this lower range. Now, we did end up dipping below the $1,070 level of support, so 1,066, which is a bearish indicator. Now, this doesn't mean we're just going to straight up crash to the absolute floor, but these are showing some signs that we're slowly on this downward trend. We're cooling off just a little bit, but there is something else that may push us a little bit lower going into tomorrow, and that is the latest deliveries report. Now, it was not a bad report. It was actually an absolutely fantastic report, but the media found a way to basically kind of undermine Tesla and castigate their success. So I really want to break that down for you guys. So let's first look at the data from Q4 of 2021. This was their penultimate or second to last deliveries report. Let's look at this first before we talk about the latest one. So in Q4 of 2022, they delivered 308,000 electric cars, which was fantastic. And you have to remember this number, 308,000. Now, what happened recently? They had their latest deliveries report for Q1 of 2022. And in this latest report, they produced 305,000 vehicles and they delivered 310,000 vehicles. That's 2,000 more vehicles than their last quarter. So they did pretty darn well, in my opinion, because of the fact that, look, there was an ongoing supply chain challenge, okay, across the entire globe for the EV sector. We had the global chip shortage. We're having commodity prices go up. I mean, it's just a disaster in a way, and yet Tesla's killing it. They found a way around these whole nickel issues that they're having in terms of production. They're doing very well despite these, challenges. They also had factory shutdowns. Don't forget about the factory shutdowns. According to this article right here from Barron's, Tesla halted their Shanghai production due to the virus, and that hit their quarterly deliveries report. Now, this shut down around the 27th or 28th of March, from what I remember. So they had over 4 or 5 days in total, because China's time is different, 4 to 5 days of shutdown due to the virus. And that did end up hurting their quarterly deliveries report at least a little bit. But that doesn't mean it was a bad report. It was still very good. It's still showing growth, and it still shows that this company is persevering and not quitting, and they have more room to run. So let's break down the data just a little bit. 14,000 of the production came from it came for the Model S and Model X, and then for the Model 3 and Y made up 291,000. So those are making the majority of their production, for 305,000 produced in total. Deliveries was essentially the same. Some of it came from the Model S and X, but the majority came from the Model 3 and the Model Y. Once again, 310,000 deliveries. Now, why did this not meet expectations is probably what you're thinking. And there's a very big dichotomy, a distinction, something you have to remember between expectation and reality for this company. The reality is, like I said before, supply chain issues, lots of big obstacles, yet they powered through. They grew every single quarter. They're still crushing it, and they are on track to doing very well. I still see this as a very, very good deliveries report, and they're doing absolutely fantastic. Now, the reason why they did not meet expectations is what I listed from before, and there were many, news articles saying that these deliveries were disappointing. They were horrible, and that's not at all the case. Because if you go down here, I think the numbers right over here, they had the expectation of 317,000 deliveries, and they came short just a little bit. But remember, they had that Shanghai production shutdown for just a couple of days, like 4 to 7 days, however many days it was, and that did play a big role in them kind of missing out. And as they get closer to like the end date, they typically really, really go higher in terms of production and deliveries, and that did impact them. So the thing to remember is the Shanghai Gigafactory produces more vehicles now than the Fremont one. So that's actually their big base, the big production facility, and that's the one that was shut down. So it's not necessarily their fault, and people tend to have very high expectations for Tesla, especially unrealistic ones sometimes. I wouldn't say that this was unrealistic, but like I said before, capricious things happen. But what I'm trying to say is you can't let insane expectations get in the way and kind of castigate or hide the success of this company, because look at their deliveries year over year. Okay, we had 75,000 in 2016, then 100,000, then I'm sorry about that, 240,000, 367,000, 500,000. Then last year we hit 936,000, and I believe we're projected for around 1.5 to 1.7 million deliveries for this year. I believe Tesla can reach that number, especially as we have two gigafactories opening. One of them already opened and another one is about to open. So what is this going to do for the share price? I think that's the main thing on everyone's mind. Well, I think that there was a lot of FUD that came out. They did technically miss on the expectations, which were very high, but they still did very well. And I just think that the mainstream media, these big institutions are now going to take advantage of this moment, and they may try to drive us down just a little bit. Now, I'm not saying we're going to crash. I'm not saying that we're going to fill this gap and go all the way down there. We may fill this gap in the future, but like I said before, where I see this going is if we do end up dipping below the 1,000 and $1,070 level of support, the next key target for us to drop to would be the 1,050s. And I can see us actually trading in this lower range right here for a little bit of time before we start to actually increase in share price. So in other words, it's probably going to be a slight dip before we rip even more, because I do believe that the Texas grand opening is most likely going to cause us to run up again due to FOMO. And maybe for next week, we may get some gamma as well. I mean, we'll have to wait and see how that reacts. But I do think that the Texas grand opening is going to cause the share price to go up even more. So I am still bullish for the week, but for the beginning of the week, I am a little bit bearish, and I do think it's very possible for us to dip one last time before we continue to run to the upside. Now, looking at other technical indicators real quick, like the MACD and the RSI, I like to use 2-hour candles when looking at it because it gives you a different perspective. You could see we grew so much in a short period of time, and we are starting to get that cool off for the RSI, and that's something we need to really start pushing up. I don't think it's done cooling off. We might have a little bit room for it to drop just slightly before we continue to run, and also the MACD is showing the exact same thing. So my price prediction for Monday is this. I predict, okay, I predict we're probably going to see some downside. And I could be wrong because this company does surprise me all the time, but I do expect at least a little bit of downside. We're probably going to dip a little bit. I think we're going to test 1,070 here and there, then end up dropping below it. We may continue to drop, and we could actually touch 1,050 slightly, then start to run up at midday. And it's very possible for the NASDAQ to help us push to the upside. I don't think it's going to play as big of a role because I do see Tesla separating a little bit. And after that, we could end up closing around maybe just around 1,070, just slightly in the red. But then going forward, I do see us recovering and continuing to actually rally a little bit to the upside going into the future as we produce and get closer, to the Texas Gigafactory grand opening. So that's my price target for Monday, I do see us perhaps falling into this range for just a short period of time before we start to reverse and run to the upside. But remember, this is all just a short-term prediction. The long term is extremely bright. Just look at their deliveries year over year, like I showed you guys before. They're just killing it, and I do see even more growth coming as time progresses that could really push the share price to the absolute moon, and not just the moon, maybe to Pluto, maybe to another galaxy. I mean, I'm super bullish regardless of the short term. It's still looking good. Anyways, I thank you all so much for listening. Please enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Tesla to the moon, and peace out.